Don't mind me. I'm just dealing with COVID and doing okay. Dealing with some of the weird shit it does to your body. And playing my guitar when I feel like it. Trying to stay awake. It's just exhausting taking vitamins. And shout out to Zia. Watched your live stream earlier. Pretty good. Um, Also been watching these videos of a lot of them. Because I've got too much time on my hands and not enough energy, and falling asleep watching most of them. Desert Drifter on YouTube. If you haven't watched this man's video, I suggest you do it. He goes off into the Grand Canyon and other other places, and he looks for places in history and fossils, but a lot of canyon carvings, pictographs. Um, Climbs up to these places that are outrageous that human beings lived in the Anasazi, the Pueblo, um, places I'll never go to, that have amazing granaries that they would build. And the reason why they would do this is because the top of the Grand Canyon you have snow. It's much colder. Um, you have the ponderosa pine and things like that. On the base of the canyon, it might be like 100 degrees, even in the wintertime. And what people would do is they would live down there in the summertime and grow crops. And in the wintertime, they would go to the top when it was colder, which doesn't make much sense, but it is. And they would do a little more hunting. But in between, you think about you're storing your corn, your grains, and you don't have to worry so much about mice because and different rodents and things because in those areas it was very dry and animals couldn't get to it, so it was very inhospitable. And they would build these places, and some of them were very spiritual. Some of them had very spiritual significance to them. So this guy and his wife go off and they look at stuff, and I really like their ethics. So they don't take anything. They don't, and he'll give these long moments of reflection on it. It's not much different than up here in the Loyana Gorge. I posted a thing about when the fort went in, some of the things online about Maidenfoot, where he was a Native American around here. He had been at the fort and saw this young girl. Can't remember her name. I think it was Reed. And he gave her a necklace with the beads or something on it and remembered the girl. She was the same age as his sister. And so happened, there was a lot of warfare between the tribes. Understandably, because they had treaties that nobody would come into this area where I'm at now. And they weren't necessarily hateful of the white settlers, but they didn't want to have anything to do with them in the sense that they were taking their land and bringing disease. So Maidenfoot was a warrior, but it so happened this girl during one of the situations saw her and her mother were captured and they were going to be killed. So they handed them over to this Indian that was going to kill them. And so happened it was this Maidenfoot, and he looked at them and remembered the girl, and he felt like really bad about it. He had showed the sense of conscience and humility and love. So he told them, no, run this way. And the little girl gave him her handkerchief with her name on it. So many years later, many years later, out west, uh, they came upon an old Indian and they were going to kill him. And after this one battle, he said he was done with war. And it so happened the soldier that found him, he had the handkerchief and showed it to him. It was this woman. 30 years later, her husband, the man that saved her. And it goes to show you, like you look at some of these places out west. It's not much different. There's sandstone here. There's more trees. But what I want to point out about it, oh man, my back, is the concept of when you go in places, in life in general, and you see that sandstone with the pictographs, you think of the ancient people, the people that came before, or you go to Fort Ligonier, or you go anywhere where there's history. Be very mindful of it, be very respectful, but also realize that you are living in your time. You give just the same importance to care about your environment, your fellow man, to live by those standards as they did. Those people that sat those rocks up and made those walls are long gone. You are there to witness it. You are there to be someone to document it if you have a phone or camera. More importantly, in your mind and your heart. Um, I always believe if you go into these places with a clean mind and you can speak to the spirits and the creator and everything, and it speaks to your heart right here. And in your life, if you do things with love and kindness, and the story like with Maidenfoot, or some of the true friends you know in your life, it's a very spiritual thing that you in this moment have. And don't ever deny it, whatever your gift is, your gift can be to give too much or to reflect. Reflect upon those types of places because those old people consider them spiritual for a reason. And the reason was because to reflect within your heart, kindness, your purpose, and what you are, to find who you are, know who you are. That's the greatest strength you can have. So I think a lot of those places watching these videos, that's the message of it all. You can sit and looking out a window and look at where some ancient person sat and lived and reflect on their life. And every day they woke up and saw that same view. So keep your view, your heart clean.